I don't even honestly remember what it is now. Okay, I think it was the body of Christ, but I don't remember the specifics of it.
Okay, you're talking about the Eucharist?
Yes.
Okay, so it sounds like you're talking about a Eucharistic minister, right? So the one who would help to distribute the body of Christ?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Did you have a specific question, or did you want a quick rundown again about what a Eucharistic minister does?
No, yeah, just a quick rundown would be great. And then I was going to reach out to the person in charge to talk a little bit more about it.
So that person happens to be here. So come on up here, Diana, talk about Eucharistic ministry.
Oh, nice. Okay. Sorry, I was.
No, this is what we're doing tonight. And you notice I didn't start the recording until now. So apologies to those of you. We just began. We did a reset from last week, and we're talking about liturgical ministries before we dive into more parish ministries.
Just do a recap.
Just real quick.
Well, Eucharistic ministers, they actually, clergy, the deacons and the priests are Eucharistic ministers. Lay people like you and I are extraordinary Eucharistic ministers. So our job is to help the clergy at communion time. So in our parish is so big that if we just had the clergy giving out communion at every mass, we'd run into the next mass because there's so many people in our parish. So they have asked extraordinary ministers to come forward and become part of this ministry so that we can help the clergy. And so that's our role. So in our parish, we have 5 communion stations right now. 2 in the front, 2 in the middle, and 1 is a rover that runs all over the place looking for people outside. And then they come in and help as well. So to become a Eucharistic minister, you have to be fully initiated in the church, which all of you are now. I can vouch for that. You should have some kind of a devotion or a love for the Eucharist. You also want to just continue to further your faith journey by going on retreats and reading books and going to Bible studies and things just to kind of enhance your whole journey, your faith journey, so that everything stays kind of alive for you. And then when we come to Mass, and if that's a Mass that you're assigned to, you come 15 minutes before Mass, you'll get your assignment of where you're going to be, and then you can give out the Holy Communion. Right now, it's just hosts. We don't do precious blood. I don't know if precious blood is ever going to come back, but it's not going to come back in the very near future at all. So right now, it's just 5 stations, just with the host.
And to become one?
To become one, you have to pass my test. No, I don't have a test. You come to a meeting, which I'm going to probably this week schedule a meeting. I'm hoping to do it on a Tuesday night. About this time before we start off with the summer session of RCIA. I've got somebody else in the parish who wants to train as well, so I'll make sure I reach out to her. But anybody who wants to learn more or wants to be trained, then come to the meeting. And as long as you feel comfortable, you can become a Eucharistic minister. There's nothing else that you really have to do. You will have, we're going to ask you to go through virtuous training. If you haven't gone through virtuous training, and be fingerprinted, that kind of stuff too, for just safeguarding the children. So that will be done as well. Not that night, but you'll be asked to do it. You'll have about a year to get that done, to get it into your file. Any other questions or anything? I'm the go-to person, so if you're interested in Elsa, send me an email. Or send
Okay.
Dawn an email and I'll get the information.
Okay, thank you.
So you heard it said that Diana is the coordinator for that ministry. For sacristans, it's Kathy Bajorquez. For lectors, it's Father Matthew. For altar servers, and we do have adult altar servers, that's Daryl Franzel. Our choir director, anybody who's interested in that, is Andrew Petraka. And for now, because we're still looking for a coordinator for ambassadors, it's yours truly. It's how we find that special person. Okay. You heard Diana say virtuous training. if you're going to be involved in any of our ministries, we're going to have you go through Virtus training. Virtus training is basic, it's safeguarding our children and safeguarding those who are vulnerable in our community. It's not just children, the way people take advantage of anyone, and one of that is elderly as well. So it's a 3-hour training session. It's something that's done across the United States and other English-speaking countries I know of. And it's the church's commitment to make sure that what happened in the past, where there was abuse allowed in our parishes by clergy and non-clergy, that we are committed to that not happening again. And we had someone from the Archdiocese come to speak about this, Dr. Heather Vanis, and she's in charge of auditing the whole Archdiocese, which is huge. And one of the things that she said is, because of this commitment, and it's a little bit of a pain to go to a 3-hour seminar, I get it. But she said, everyone who invests themselves that way, it's come to this point where for years now, I think she said 3 years, she hasn't had one new complaint about abuse. I mean, something that's happened in the last 3 years. She's had, and the people who are contacting and making claims has reduced quite a bit. But for the last 3 years, they're all things that have happened in the past that we still need to deal with. But there's such a hypervigilance on the part of everyone in our parishes that we, God willing, have eliminated this forever happening in our parishes. Okay? So a little plug about that.
Oh, and Deacon Don, oh, can you hear me?
Yes, Nick, go ahead, and then
Oh.
Mary has something to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I went to the Virtus training last Saturday and it was painless. You know, it's obviously a tough subject to focus on, but it was like watching a couple half-hour videos and working with the instructor, Dea Bain, who she's really an excellent person to talk to and answered all kinds of questions. And just that's my plug for Virtus trainings, not too bad.
Yeah, thanks. And you know what, from that point on, if you can sign up to have ongoing training, which means once a month, you're going to have an article sent to your email. You have to read it, and then you have to take a 1-question quiz. And if you pass that, you're on to the next one next month. And if you keep up with that, you don't have to go through the retraining. If you don't keep up with it, there is a retraining that you have to go through every 4 years, I think. It's 3 or 4 years. Okay. Mary, what were you going to say?
You just did.
Oh, sorry. All right. I read your mind. Or you channeled me. Okay. All right. So in our parish, we have other ministries that aren't just in support of our worship, our liturgy. And we're going to have different people come up and talk about these. So first of all, I'm going to ask Mary to come up and talk about our religious education program. You want to come up here and talk so you can be on camera too?
It's changed so much, I don't.
Well, Mary is a former coordinator of our program, so I thought it'd be nice to begin with that, and then we can add a little bit more about the family faith formation.
Well, you just want to.
We can start with what age group.
Yeah,
and
religious ed
catechists and
is
parents together.
for children from first grade or with the elementary up to 5th grade. And then they move on to middle school, which is our EDGE program. So that's 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And then high school, which is confirmation. And confirmation is a 2-year program. So first communion you receive when you're in 2nd grade, but it's a 2-year program. So you start when you're in 1st grade, you receive your first Holy Communion in 2nd grade. If you start as a 2nd grader, you'll receive it in the 3rd grader, and so on. And then we are always in need of catechists. And catechists are lay men and women who will commit to teaching the children. And when we had religious ed before,
It was on Tuesdays and Wednesday afternoons from 3 to 5 o'clock, 5:30. So it's really a great time, and there is training. The Archdiocese will send people up here to train you to be a catechist, so you don't go into a classroom blind. And plus, with the training that you've all had, you could easily be catechists already, because you probably know a lot more than the catechist learned a long time. But it's a great program. But now it has changed a little bit for our elementary school program, and it's called Faith Formation, Family Faith Formation. And it's kind of a flip where the children would come to the class once a week and we would teach them. Well, now you're teaching the parents. So the parents, and I believe it's all by Zoom, the parents are receiving a class by Zoom, and then they teach their children, because as parents, you are the primary educator of your children's faith. And that's something that we stress in our baptism prep class, that as parents and godparents, you are always the primary educator. And then the children gather together, I think is it every other month or once a month they get together?
It's once a month this year. It's gonna be
Once a
twice
month.
next year.
I'm sorry?
And it's gonna expand to twice a month.
Okay, so it's once a month this year. The children all get together and have a reinforcement day of a certain topic that the director, Mary Keelis, has assigned. So it may be about Advent, maybe about Lent. It could be on the saints. It could be on the Our Father. So whatever that lesson. So next year it's going to be twice a month. And it's a wonderful program. So if you have children who go to public school, this is who it's for. If your children go to a Catholic school already, they're receiving religious ed every day at class. So they do not need to attend religious ed. They're already getting it. So any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Deacon Don, I think we talked about this already about Dimitri being in 6th grade. Which one would he go into next year?
Yes.
He would be in the EDGE program, and that's with Dave Rivera, who does the junior high and middle school, and he also does confirmation, and he's a wonderful leader.
Okay, so
They
he
meet on
actually,
Wednesday nights.
but that would be him attending class, or do I still have to be able to be free for that?
That's him attending that, they won't call it class. It's like he's the store. They come and have fun and activities, but it is their instruction. So it's more of a youth ministry kind of gathering. It's the youth, but you will need to be involved. We need to go to every single one, not necessarily unless you want to be part of the team, and he does need that too. But parents do need to rotate in and out and take their turns supporting it. That's Wednesday nights. Now, if he's going to be prepared for sacraments to RCIA for children, that's RCIA for youth, that'll be on Saturday mornings, and it'll be 6 times you'll gather with Gabe and the team, and you will need to go with your son for that.
Okay, yeah, I can find out more about it later. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about RCIA right now. So if Tricia and Michael come up and give a real quick rundown of, obviously people know RCIA for adults, but could you talk a bit about RCIA for youth and for children? You both had some experience with that. Yeah, just a little bit. Okay. So you're all familiar with RCIA for adults.
Yep.
So RCIA, same approach, modified for teenagers, youth, and for children.
Right. And with RCIA, what we found out with the children, right? It's over here in the corner, right? Or I guess in the high school area. Okay, is that we actually have a lot of the parents show up. And we have like 4 or 5 people right now that are helping. We could use more, definitely more. But and Gabe is one that coordinates that also. He helps us on out and he tells us what's going on. But it's a great program.
What ages?
The ages are, what is it, the junior high school. So
And high school.
and high school. So it goes from 13, 14 to 18. It's very good. What is it? They go in clubs. So what is it in there? Whether you'll find out that some people the kids will show on up and they're with their cousins or they're with their friends and they line on up and they're great because all of us get seated around them and we get to answer while they're learning. It's on Saturday for a couple of hours. Very good. Was it, like I said, was it just like us to understand that they're there listening to the word, listening to what you guys have listened to for the last year, right? But they've done this they're there for about, I think it's like 6 to 8 weeks.
6 weeks, and it's about an hour.
Right. And it's excellent. It's an excellent program. I was fascinated by the fact that they were, when they first showing up, they're like you guys, right? You can't get them to say a thing the first or second week. They're just listening. And then all of a sudden you let them go. And they hit the 3rd week and they start asking questions. And then they fight for their area. You know, I'm listening here because I'm next to her and I want to talk to her, my best friend. So it really is good. So if you really like working and looking forward to working with junior high school or high school kids, which at first I was scared to death of, but they turned out to be pretty nice, right? So, you know, was it just see if that would be something that you would like to do. But they are a fantastic crew. I've done it a couple times now. And I really enjoy it. And I yell at Gabe, when are we doing it? He goes, oh, it's soon. It's always soon. And Don, the one who got me involved in it, want to try that? I don't know. Turned out to be very good.
And a similar program for children. Now they'll meet on Sunday mornings before the 11 o'clock mass, because as you know, they came over to 11 o'clock mass for the different rites. That's great, ages 6, well, again, 1st grade through 5th grade. And these are children who are not baptized, and they need to be baptized before they can finish preparation for First Communion. So these children are being baptized. In the RCIA for youth, it could be youth who are not baptized, but in many cases they're baptized, but they haven't made First Communion. And they need to do that before they are confirmed. So the majority of those are preparing for First Communion. But as you know, whether you're preparing for baptism or First Communion or confirmation or marriage, whatever sacrament, if you don't understand baptism, you can't really understand the other sacrament. So all of these start with baptism and then work through the rest. For the youth, they'll have a catechesis week followed by a hands-on week. So you learn about baptism, then you experience baptism. You learn about the Eucharist, then you experience Mass in a way you've never experienced before, or learn about Mass, or hands up and get to see and participate. You learn about the sacrament of reconciliation, then you make your sacrament of reconciliation, okay? For the children, it's all the sacraments, but it's other things too. It's being part of something bigger than yourself, giving your life as a gift. So service is a big aspect as well. And all of those, both those programs, parents have to attend with them. Because the reality is, if they haven't been receiving sacraments in the normal flow, that means for almost all cases, parents can be better catechized. That's true for all of us at any point in time. But they're also children and youth as well. So the parents had either made the promise if the children are baptized, or will make the promise with them that they'll continue to raise them in the faith. So they need to be fully capable of doing that. So what we find with both these programs is it's as beneficial to these parents growing in the faith and things making sense for them as adults by going through this with their children as well. And it's not uncommon that some of these parents have not received sacraments and they end up here in RCIA for for adults, the adult version. And of course, people that are in RCIA and their children haven't received those sacraments, they end up bringing them to these programs too. So you saw a number of your fellow RCIAers, you saw their children receiving sacraments too, okay? Questions about RCIA? If you love RCIA and you have an affinity for children, that's a great way for you to be involved this coming year. The coordinator was in your position 2 years ago. And so she said, I want to be a part of that. And after seeing all of her talents as an educator, we asked her, gosh, would you be the coordinator? I mean, you're not on your own. It's all part of RCIA. Diana and I have your back and you see the team, but we need somebody to take that role. And she's been fantastic, Michelle Maples. Yeah. Okay.
I was just gonna say too, it's if you choose to, because I've been doing it for quite some time, and you are part of a team. You're not out there alone, and so you're not teaching by yourself for 7 weeks. You're always teamed up with someone, and you may do it just 2 or 3 times.
Right.
With that 7 weeks, you know.
It is exactly what you experienced here, but developmentally appropriate for those 2 age groups. So the reason why RCIA is so successful, whether it's adults, youth, or children, is because of this team approach where it's not one person that has to do it all the time and is going to burn out. Okay. And you always know you've got support. And gosh, if your wife's flight gets delayed 4 hours, then you just scramble the team and go, okay, who's going to do what? And it flies smoothly, right? That's how it's designed. But that's the model of church. Okay. And that's what we want to model as well.
Don, who was the grandmother here? She was like 80 years old and she was actually baptized. At least she was here.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Linda.
Yeah, Linda. And she
Celeste.
That she was older than me.
and she came here because her grandchildren went through
Right.
RCI youth. And then the children started talking. So the children became baptized. And then she said, well, at 80 years old, I might as well. So it's a great win-win time to it.
Is Mandy still here? I saw her. Did she leave?
She had to go.
Oh, okay. So that being said, if you love youth, middle school and high school, and there are some of us who identify with that. I remember when I was a principal and I would sit in my K through 8 school, and the primary teachers are looking at the junior high teachers and go, oh my God, how do you deal with all that angst and hormones and attitude? And you do that every day. I could never do that. And they looked right back at him and said, yeah, but you're right, wiping runny noses and they're sneezing on you and all that. Ooh, we don't want to do it. It's whatever, however God made you. All right. Now, that being said, let's not forget RCIA. So it's common, and you have this invitation every year that we have anywhere from a couple to sometimes more than a couple who say, well, you know what? I really liked RCIA. I'd like to be involved with RCIA. If for no other reason than I felt like it was way too much to absorb. Well, that's why those of us on the team have been on the team so long. We're still absorbing it. But more importantly, that's where I feel comfortable. Well, great. Come be a part of this team. And you just start off by doing what you've already been doing. You'll sit at a table, probably with another experienced member of the team for a while, and you will be a part of faith sharing. And I got to tell you, we discovered this probably about 6 or 7 years ago, that is the best thing, especially at the beginning of RCIA, to have somebody sitting at the table going, I was sitting here this time last year, and I remember how I felt. Now, whether you say that out loud or you're just aware and you can tell that somebody's, oh, I'm not too sure. Those conversations, those authentic conversations go way further than anyone who's been on the team for 10 years. And when you're on the team too long, you start sometimes forgetting what it's like for someone who's new. So we need those people constantly remind us, okay, what does that mean? We're using a term, it's like, oh, wait a minute, yeah. Somebody's brand new. We just threw out a term as if they would know. Okay, so consider that too. All right, one more before break, and I did them out of order. Confirmation. Mandy was going to talk about that. So we already talked about a little bit. Gabe is our youth minister, and confirmation, he has a whole youth ministry program. You heard about the junior high is the Edge. They meet on Wednesday nights. The confirmation, excuse me, the youth ministry group centered on the Bible meets the same time as RCIA and Tuesday nights. So that's going on in the youth room. And then the confirmation program, it's a 2-year program for preparation, normally freshmen and sophomores, but sometimes, you know, you'll have a sophomore, junior in year 1. So year 1, year 2, and he's got a whole team. And we have any year 60 to 100 kids in one section. So they have to have a team, and they'll do things as a whole group in the hall, and then they'll split into family groups. Think table sharing, right? The groups are a little bit bigger, maybe 12. They'll have peer leaders, those who have just recently been confirmed, same thing as if any of you choose to return. So they're part of the faith sharing. They connect to kids that are only a year or 2 difference. They remember what it was like. Same model. Okay. You just have a year 1 and year 2. If you commit, it doesn't, I mean, sometimes life happens, it doesn't work out, but it's a 2-year commitment and you stay with that group. So you're with them for year 1, and then you're with them for year 2. And then if you want to still continue, then you'll take next year's year 1 and so on. Okay. They meet on Sundays, they meet before the 5 p.m. mass, and then they go to mass together. Questions about that? Well, how about we take a 5-minute break here, and then we'll dive into a few more ministries before we call in the night, okay? All right. Any questions, those online? All right, let's take a bit of a break then. No.